We will now explore beam loadings in more detail. Go to the Loadings tab. Click Partition Wall Loads. Here you can set up predefined partition wall loads, such as brick wall. The way the dialog works is very similar to the additional slab loads library. As you can see, there are already various brick wall and block wall loads set up. These are simply based on feedback from users from various countries. The right table shows material layers, and its associated parameters, such as unit weight and thickness. The material layers can be changed by clicking on the drop-down menu. To review, edit, or add material, click on Edit Material. In the Material dialog, you can edit unit weight by clicking on the input box. You can also add or delete a material. Click Add. Enter new material, glass, which we may use later. Input unit weight of 80 kilonewtons per meter cube. Press Enter. Click OK to save and exit. You can change the layer thickness. The load value is calculated by multiplying the unit weight and thickness. The total load is shown at the bottom. To add load type, click on Add New Load, at the bottom. New load will be added. Rename it, say, 30 mm glass. Select a desired color. Click Add New Layer under the Material table. Select the material, choose the newly added glass material. Enter a thickness of 30 mm. Press Enter. The load value and total loads are auto-calculated. Click Edit Load References. This can use to quickly change the load type that is already applied to beams in the model, in a batch mode, based on the selected story, or all story. The load name with the same group as the selected source load group, can be replaced by the load as specified in the target load group. For example, the client may decide to change all 100 brick wall, which will be source, to 100 block wall, which will be the target. With this function, you don't need to manually delete the wall loads already applied on the beams, and then reapply the revised load. If Apply Selected Load to All Beams is checked, the target load will be applied to all beams in the selected story. Click Cancel to exit this dialog without any changes. In the main dialog, click OK, to save and exit. We will now insert brick wall loading on the beams in Story 1. Tile the 2D and 3D view vertically by going to Views tab. Make sure the plan view is active by clicking on it. Ensure you are viewing Story 1. If not, double-click on STO1 in the structure tree, to make it active. Select a perimeter beam. The Beam tab will be shown. Click Edit Wall Load. Alternatively, you can select the beam, right-click, Edit Wall Load. In the Wall Load dialog, you can click on the drop-down list, to select a wall load, which are set up in the Partition Wall library. Choose 200 brick wall, Singapore. For wall height, type in 3 meters. Press Enter. Notice the load values are automatically calculated. The total dead load is wall unit weight, multiplied by the wall height. Hence, it is really important that you enter the correct wall height. The diagram is also updated to reflect the loads. The left table shows the exact coordinates and magnitude of the loads applied. Partial wall loads can be entered by checking Define Wall Length manually. Enter wall length equals 2 meters. Enter. The diagram will be updated. To move this load, you can enter, reference x equals say 1 meter. Enter. This will move the load 1 meter to the right, from the left node of the beam. Wall opening, example, of windows and doors, can be inserted by clicking Edit Openings. Uncheck Define Wall Length manually. Click OK to save exit. On the plan view, the beam with wall load is hatched with a preset color. The wall is also shown in the 3D view. We will now copy the brick wall load, to all the perimeter beams. On the plan view, ensure the beam with wall load is selected, right-click, Copy Wall Load. Multiple select all the perimeter beams, by holding down the Ctrl, while selecting the beams. You can also drag a box to select the perimeter beams, without releasing the Control key. It does not matter if columns are selected. When all perimeter beams are selected, right-click, choose Paste Copied Beam Loads. Choose Yes to copy the loads. Check both the plan, as well as the 3D view, to ensure the wall's loads are applied. If there are missing wall loads, you need to copy and paste again. If you want to edit, or remove a wall load on beam, simply select the beam, right-click, select Edit Wall Load, or Delete Wall Load. Press Escape key if you do not want to do any of these. There is another method of inserting a copied wall load. Zoom to the lower left of the floor. Select a beam with a wall load, right-click, Copy Wall Load. Right-click, select Insert Copied Wall by dragging beams. Now click on the first point on any beam, move the mouse cursor. Click on the second point. The wall load will be inserted between the 2 points. We will now insert other types of loading on the beam, such as a point load. Select this beam. Select Edit Member Loads, in the Beam tab that appears. Alternatively, this function is also accessible from right-click Context menu. The beam load form will appear. This load form shows all the different types of loads that are applied to, and that are automatically calculated on this beam. This includes the slab loads that are calculated onto the beam. It also includes the beam self-weight, partition wall loads, and any other manual loads applied directly to this beam. However, it excludes reaction from secondary beams, and transfer columns or walls, which are only evaluated during analysis. In the table on the left, you can click on Slab label. The slab load will be highlighted in red in the diagram. This load is based on the default yield line or tributary area, slab load calculation method. It is advisable to perform verification of slab loads, especially if the slab is regular, and the yield line on plan view is in doubt. In the table, there is an arrow icon, which is the load transfer side icon. This simply marks whether this slab is at the left, or right side of the beam. This transfer side marking does not affect the loadings, it's purely for information only. The reaction that you see in the diagram is simplified as a simply supported beam, with knife support. It is not the true reaction of the beam, which can only be obtained after running the analysis. Nonetheless, the reaction values are useful, to check the total loading on this beam, based on the loads applied, as explained previously. To insert a beam manual load, click New Load. 3 choices are available: Uniform Load, Partial Load, and Point Load. Choose Partial Load. Click Load Editor. Different choices of partial loads are available. Pick this. Then key in these values: x equals 1 meter, a equals 2 meters, g equals 4, q equals 3. Click OK. The load diagram will be shown. The coordinates and the magnitude will be shown in the table below. Enter a name for this load. Example, staircase. Reference X allows you to shift the position of the load. Example, if you enter 1 meter, press Enter. The load will be shifted to the right by 1 meter. Load transfer side. As explained, this is purely graphical, as is meant to identify whether slab load is contributed from the right or left of the beam. All loads entered here is vertical load on the beam. Click OK to confirm. This manual load will be added in the load table, with a hand icon. This manual load is also added to the diagram. To edit or delete the load, simply select this load, and click on Edit or Delete icon at the bottom of the table. Click OK to save and exit.